So we have the privilege of having Sello Maake kaNcube in studio. It needs no introduction, well decorated, representing South Africa, flying the flag high across international stages. He's been on Generations, here on ETV Scandal, The Queen, The Herd, and Nothing But the Truth that you're currently working on, the John Kani.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah. But I want to comment about this. Did you see the camera? What? Why grow a short? You know, they say Khalil Gibran in with the Prophet, where he talks about work, he says, work is love made visible.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And we are tired. We celebrate you. So,
yeah.
We celebrate the cameraman.
Take a bow, Papaji.
Papaji, thank you.
So before we went to other segments, you were talking about ageism and the need, or I don't want to call it the obsession, of having more young people, developing young talent. There should be a generational mix, you say.
Hey, man, these young people themselves come out of families. They have ramuhol, and then you take them, but they get into the industry. It is just themselves only. It doesn't sound right.
Yeah, and this was played out just before, off air, you were saying with Nelly, Paul, Moroka, in Generations.
I was saying, somehow it started with radio, because they got rid of, the older generation and brought in the new talent, and almost TV was actually almost doing the very same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, for me, it was happening in the story. And when they killed the character of Archie's father, Paul Moroga, I was mad, man. In fact, my madness, people will read about it in my autobiography. I was so angry because here now, instead of allowing people to see the father and son, dealing with issues, now they remove the father. And we actually come from a society which was living with fatherless, women-headed families. You know what I mean? And now we have an issue of gender-based violence, children growing fatherless. And we don't even realize that this comes also from the 300 years of colonialization.
So talk us through the behind the scenes, because once they headhunt and you become the lead in Scandal, Generation, The Herd, or other productions, it is essentially just there. You are the talent. You don't really have a say as to how far your character would develop, or do you? How much agency do you have?
No, I think it's only now that it's, this kind of thing is emerging, where you find, people, actors becoming executive producers, in their own series, and now they have some kind of say in how the story is developed. In those days, no matter how long you were in the series, for instance, people think I must have been in Generations for 15 years. It was actually even much less than that, because I did the very first 3 series, which were 1 year long, but 1 episode, 52 episodes a year. And when they started to do like a 4-day daily, that's when I had a fallout with them. And then came back, and basically what was back in 1998, and then 2000 I was out. And people think that I was there.
Yeah, that's why you still refer to as Achimo. I stopped watching Generations when you were there.
So that thing, of actually having actors being executive producers as the series goes and allowing them to grow in the industry, it's only starting now. Our generation, and like we suffered apartheid. And then we actually been suffer apartheid in the new dispensation.
Yes, and I know your wife Pearl was going to join us a little bit later, but she's not feeling well, so we send love and well wishes, my love. The woman who's got you wrapped around her little finger.
Know.
But she's gotten into your space when you were really formidable. You were well established, and she just went and put a different energy to your brand. The dynamics of being wife and manager, how does that work?
What was interesting is that, we do have our fights. And then there was a time when he used to say, yeah, I resurrected a dying brand.
It reminds me of your tweet where somebody was saying that what was it, that you are depreciating, or this gender at this age are depreciating. It's not the case. I mean,
no, but that was the case, I must tell you. You know, it was happening. It really was happening. I mean, she came into my life when I was at my lowest. You know, and she came and vavavoom my life.
Hey, I wish you could see him in person. I don't know what your secret of youth is.
You're making me blush, and I'm even sweating.
No, but seriously, your secret of youth, it's just like you've reinvented, re-engineered
But I
yourself.
think it's work, Ma. You know, when you're doing what you love, like I even said earlier on, and then you actually basically finding yourself in a very good relationship.
Yeah.
You know, and things are just, you know, the cells, they regenerate.
Yes.
You know, and your spirit.
Yeah.
I think maybe whatever, you know, you're saying, that it's actually the beauty of I think the joy that is in my spirit now.
Yeah. We'll touch on a little bit about at the time where you're at your lowest, because often we don't talk about it. We always try to keep this facade that we're all okay. And yet we see issues around mental health.
Exactly.
And how people in the industry, you wake up in the morning and you hear a story of suicide. Your Ricky Ricks, you know, may his soul rest in peace, your Double HPs and many others, that we expected to keep it together. So I want to talk to you about that, how Pearl, your wife, and whom you say you count as a blessing twice, was there, instrumental to remind you of who you are, the greatness of Sello Maake kaNcube. But we'll touch on